Welcome back. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today I'm going to share some things that I am going to declutter in my kitchen as someone who has already decluttered their entire home. Back when we first started decluttering, I felt the kitchen was the easiest place to start because I could get rid of things like the excess amount of cups we had. We had so many cups, mugs, and drinking apparatuses, whatever you want to call it. We had way too many. Even if we had had a party, we never really used the amount of cups that I had. So the kitchen was the easiest place for me to start decluttering, and I jumped right into that process. And I was able to get rid of all of the really obvious items. For instance, if we had 20 cups, I could whittle it down to 8 cups. What I would do is store all the items that we used all the time above my kitchen sink and where we could get to those items easily. And then what I did was anything that was in question that I thought we might use in the future, I would store in a cupboard down below where I don't get into as much. And I got rid of extra sets of dishes, just so many things. We had several different types of strainers. I tried to get rid of any duplicate items that we didn't really need. Of course, during that process, I did save some items that I was unsure of because I didn't want to declutter things that I would later have to go out and buy again. So those things were, for instance, this cookie press. I had talked about decluttering this in a previous video that if I hadn't used it, I would declutter it. And I think I used this 2 Christmases ago to make some spritz cookies, and that's it. I used it one time. I'm gonna see if my mom wants to have this back. It was a family item that was passed down to me and I'm just not using it. So I'm going to finally part with this. And this is what I'm talking about, how I saved dishes that I thought I might use, but I just haven't. So these 2 cups I know I can get rid of because I have not used these in at least 2 to 3 years. We still have plenty of mugs, coffee cups, teacups. So I am going to get rid of these 2. And also these are from IKEA, so they're very inexpensive. If for some reason I felt like I needed to have more, I could easily go out and repurchase these at a very, very cheap price. The nice thing about getting rid of all those extra items is I had them stored in this bowl in the back of my cupboard down here. And while I don't use these bowls very often, I found it very irritating last night when I wanted to make some cookies. I had to pull the bowls out, I had to take everything out of them, put it all back. So anyways, I'm excited to get rid of those items because of that exact situation. And for me, that is what being more minimal decluttering is all about, is just getting rid of those items that really get in your way when you're trying to use your everyday items that you want to use and want to get to easily. Here we have my extra dishes that I was storing down there, and I am going to change my tune on this a little bit for me right now, and that's because I've already been at this minimalism thing for quite a while now, so hear me out. Normally, I recommend if you have several different sets of dishes or you have a ton of dishes, to just take out the ones that you use all the time and put them in a very accessible area and store the rest away, out of the way, so it's not so cluttered. But back when we first became minimal, first started decluttering, I decided to get rid of all of my chipped, broken, mismatched dishes and go to Corelle dishes. And this is my reasoning. I have 2 young children and we had plastic kids dishes, all different types of dishes. And it somewhat drove me nuts that nothing matched and that it was having 2 big sets, kid set, adult set. So I streamlined, I got this. And while these are not 100% not breakable, whatever you want to call it, they don't shatter or break as easily as a normal glass plate. And what I've always done is only had a few of them in my main cupboards and these stored away. The reason why I recommend that is because that way you're not having to wash a ton of dishes and having everyone in your family just take another dish until they're all dirty. You're pretty much forced to wash your dishes right after you've used them, because if not, you don't have any more to use. That's really good if you're not in the pattern or habit of washing your dishes right away. But I'm in a really good habit of always washing my dishes, putting them away right after we eat a meal. And if not after that one moment, maybe a tiny bit later in the day, but I rarely just take new dishes out and keep using them. So in my situation, although I don't recommend this for everyone until you're in a really, really good habit, I am going to put these dishes back with all the other ones in our main cupboard because they're super thin, they don't take up much room, they all work together, and I think it's gonna give me more room down here to really organize everything. Now everything in this cupboard is very accessible. I have cutting boards, mixing bowls. These are the 2 strainers I always use. And then at the back we have our nicer salad bowl. Up here I have these vintage bowls that are glass. I have my plastic ones. Here are the things that we're going to declutter. Found these 2 straws that I remember they make everything taste really weird. Found this little measuring cup that I've never used. And of course, the cookie press, the 2 cups. Here are our everyday dishes, the smaller bowls, the larger bowls. These we use every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. And then we have the larger salad bowls, and these are the few coffee cups that we now have. Up here I store my tea. Back there is a bread knife. So this is what this is looking like with the extra dishes. Still very organized. Here we have our plates, large. These are like a platter, but we do use these a lot. Then we have the medium and the mini plates, and this is just a really inexpensive plate rack I got, which I absolutely love. That way when I come in here, I don't have to move plates off of other plates to get something. I can just grab exactly what I need. The nice thing about getting rid of those extra things, putting the dishes all together in my main cupboard, is I've simplified this area now, so when I want to get down there, I can get exactly what I want quickly and easily, and that's what it's all about for me. I know a lot of people are going to say, why do you have so many bowls? And my answer is because I use them. Back before COVID, we had parties. I use those bowls all the time. I prefer to use dishes that I can wash and reuse over and over again rather than having to use a bunch of paper products or one-use plastic items. And that is why minimalism looks different for everybody, and why some people might just have one bowl for everything and some people might have quite a few. But by getting rid of these extra little items, I've simplified my kitchen even more and made it more functional. The next thing on my list I want to get rid of is this big knife holder. But before I can do that, I want to get a drawer knife holder so I don't just have a bunch of knives rolling around with my young kids that can get into them. So this is the next big thing that I really want to declutter. So I'm gonna get on the internet and look for one of those. I've been wanting one for quite a while. And this also sits out on our counter, so that will also streamline our counter and make it look less cluttered. Let me know in the comments your latest decluttering project. I'd love to know what you are currently decluttering or simplifying in your life. Thank you so much for joining me today for this mini kitchen declutter, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. If you need help decluttering, make sure you check out my decluttering ebook linked below.